Hey, welcome to Barn Tech. Today I'm in the barn with my neighbor's Kawasaki 140 dirt bike. He said it's been sitting up for a couple of years, and today we're going to try to get it running. I noticed as I pulled the plastics off of the gas tank that the gas tank is full and the gas in the tank smells pretty good. So that tells me that someone has tried to get this bike running recently. Probably the same story for almost every bike that I work on. It's been sitting up for a couple of years. Somebody tries to pull it out, get it to start, it won't start, and they won't rid of it. So the good news is it's almost always the same thing. It's almost always the main jet in the carburetor gets clogged up. Easy way to test for that, I've got the air filter pulled off here. I'm going to squirt a little squirt of carburetor cleaner inside the intake. Should fire right up, run for a couple of seconds and die. Well, there you have it. Main jet and the carburetor's clogged. Let's pull the carburetor off and get this thing running again. Okay, my little trick for getting fuel hoses loose is to put my pliers on there and twist. Once you break the seal, I heard it pop, then it should just slide right off. There we go. Got a little bit of fuel coming out of the line. That's a good sign. That means that fuel was getting to the carburetor. So that means that the petcock and tank are good. So let's get in there to the carburetor now. It's like the boot on this throttle cable has seen better days. Not too bad there. Carburetor should come off pretty easily here. There's a clamp on either side. Already took the throttle cable off. Already took the fuel hose off. This choke is probably going to be the trickiest part. It's like a vent hose runs up the frame. I'll go ahead and pull that vent hose loose too. It should be a vent hose out the bottom too, but that one usually just goes down. I'm not going to worry too much about that one. Okay, so here's the vent hose on top. That was easy peasy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the choke cable after I get it out in my hand. A lot of times this flexible hose will bend out of the way. That's the easiest way to get the carburetor out. And there we go. Ooh. There's some nastiness in there. I don't think that air filter was working properly. Woo! That gas doesn't smell as good as the gas in the tank. All right, here we go. This will work. There, I got it. Choke cable out of the way. Let's go pull the bowl off of this thing and see what we got. The back of my side-by-side makes a really good workbench here. Let's look in the bowl. We got a little bit of trash down in the bowl, but honestly, I have seen a lot worse. No issues so far. I'm going to use a screwdriver that fits really well on these jets because they're brass and they're super easy to break. So let me find a better screwdriver. I think this screwdriver is going to fit a lot better. Yeah. So now that'll decrease my chances of breaking one of these brass jets. So let's look here. I believe this is going to be the idle jet. I'm trying to look through this thing at the light, and I'm not seeing any light through it. Let's go ahead and pull the other jet too and see if it's any better. Nope, I do see some light coming through that one. It's not completely clear, but I'm seeing a little bit of light through that one. So let's run a guitar string through it and clean it out. All right, so I don't know what size this jet is, so I'm just going to start with the E string. Okay, after you've gotten your guitar string to go all the way through the jet, you can pull that back out again, and you want to make sure that it goes through all of the holes on the sides too. These usually don't clog up like the main hole in the bottom does, but I like to run through those anyway just to be sure. And now I see plenty of light through this thing. So I'm going to take some carburetor cleaner and spray that through it, and that should finish getting it flowing. Oh yeah, look at that. Now when I spray, of course I'm putting my safety squints on. See how that's shooting out of the jet now? That's good. That means that is about ready to go back in there. Idle jet's ready. Let's look here at the main jet. Main jet, I see light through, so that's not going to be a problem. In fact, this main jet will take a larger guitar string than that idle jet did. See, it just goes right on through. In fact, I'm able to put the big part of the guitar string through that one, so that one's fine. Let's go ahead and check these little holes on the sides. So I'm able to stick my guitar string through the holes on the sides. I'm just going to go around and hit all of them just to be sure. Okay, there should be one more set down here. Well, that one looked like it may have had some gunk in it. That feels a lot better now. Okay, so let's spray carburetor cleaner through this one. Nozzle fits really good in that one. So we should see this one spray out real good. Remember, safety squints. You do not want carburetor cleaner in your eye. Oh yeah. That jet's clean. Okay. While we're in here, we're just going to go ahead and clean everything up. I'm going to put a little mark right here to show me where the idle screw was aimed. And I'm going to come over here to the mixture screw, and I'm going to put a mark where this one's aimed as well. And I'm going to turn it in and count the turns. Half, 7/8. So I'm going to turn the mixture screw out 7/8 from the bottom when I put it back in. So let's take the mixture screw out and look at it. Long as you pull the mixture screw out before you spray your carburetor cleaner through the idle circuit, it should get everything real good and clean in there. There we go. I'll spray that off before I put it back in, but that looks pretty good. It did have a little bit of varnish on the tip, and there is a ton of trash that is caught up behind that diaphragm. So I'm glad I pulled that cover off, because this thing would not have run very well for very long with all that trash in there. If it ran at all, it would have sucked that right back into the jets and clogged the jets right back up. So, looks like there is a little O-ring here I need to not lose. So let's get that O-ring, set it aside before I forget about that. I'm gonna lose that. I'm gonna pull this off so that I can clean behind that, because I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some small passages that go into that pulse circuit. No, well, I don't see a pulse circuit. No holes in that, just a gasket. All right, come over to my bucket. Now, I like to shoot carburetor. Let me see if I got goggles. I joke about safety squints, but this carburetor cleaner is no joke. There we go. All right, so I like to shoot my carburetor cleaner into each of the small holes here, and that will clean something out. Uh-oh. Okay, when I shot in here, it shot something out of this hole that landed in my dirty, nasty bucket down there. So I'm gonna have to fish in that bucket and find out what dropped in there. For now, let's just clean the rest of the holes. Okay, that one goes down in the bowl. All right, get that pretty clean. And that shower's not gonna get this smell off my hand. Well, that ain't the part that fell in there. I forgot I had a cylinder head in that bucket. I think I found what fell in. Spring. Yes, of course. The spring for the idle mixture needle. Okay, well that makes sense. Not a huge deal. All right, we'll put that cylinder head back in there. You'll see that engine in a future video. Clean diaphragm, clean jets. Looks like kind of oily varnish that was in that fuel pump. Yep. And that's why I wear goggles. This is the last bit to get cleaned. There's always a little bit of trash down by this bleed screw. Should go back together pretty easily. Let's start with jets. Don't want to forget those. And they should just screw in and bottom out. Tight, but not so tight that you break the brass screw head. Balance the needle as I stick it down in the thing there. Stick the pin back in. Line that up. So I'm sharing my secret with you guys, which means you'll be less likely to sell me something for dirt cheap, but there'll always be somebody out there. Okay, now this idle mixture screw, I wrote down 7/8, so I'm going to turn it out 7/8. So let's see, that's 3/4 to half, 7/8, and that's aimed pretty good at the mark that I made. All right, so now the fuel pump, take this gasket and shove it back in that hole, check this diaphragm out. Diaphragm looks pretty good. Set the diaphragm in there. Let's get this spring on the diaphragm, cover, lined up, 2 screws. So I have a feeling this one's going to just go right together and run. All right. Got my mix set, fuel pumps on, jets are in, float is in. All right, let's put this thing back on. Bike should run good now. I was reading in Psalm 139 yesterday, and David said, "Where can I hide from God? If I go up in the heavens, he's there. If I go to the bottom of the sea, he's there." It reminds me of a little child. You can't see me. There's nowhere we can hide from God.